Hello students. So in this video we will discuss about the second type of simple tissue, that is Collenchyma. So in the previous video we discussed about the different types of tissues, and I gave you a flow chart of the tissues, and in that we discussed even about one very important simple tissue, that is parenchyma. Now it is the turn of the second tissue, collenchyma. Okay, and this collenchyma is a simple tissue. I hope you know that what is meant by simple tissue. Group of similar cells. Group of similar cells or identical cells, which are structurally similar and similar in origin as well as function. So we can say all the aspects, structurally they are similar, origin wise they are similar, and even functionally they are similar. So such tissues are called simple tissues. And remember one point that we discussed about while discussing about the parenchyma. We have come to know that parenchyma is present in all plants, right from algae to angiosperms. That means it is present in the algal plants, present in the bryophytes, present in pteridophytes, present in gymnosperms, present in angiosperms, and among angiosperms, present in dicots, present in monocots. So, no exception for the parenchyma. But whereas this collenchyma is exclusively present only in the aerial parts of dicots. I hope you're understanding. In angiosperms, there are two classes. One is dicotyledonnae and the other one is monocotyledonnae. In short form, we call dicotyledonnae as dicots and monocotyledonnae as monocots. Okay, so this tissue is present only in dicots, that too in which parts of dicots? Aerial parts of the dicots. Okay, so it is a simple tissue, and just like the parenchyma, this tissue is also a living tissue. Means what? It contains protoplasm. What is protoplasm? The cytoplasm and nucleus together called protoplasm. So that's why it is a living tissue. And then what is the difference between that parenchyma and this collenchyma? The parenchyma is a multifunctional tissue, because we already discussed about that parenchyma, and we have come to know that it is performing several functions. So it is able to store the food materials, it is able to prepare the food materials, it is able to provide turgidity to the cells, and it is able to provide even protection to the plant organs in the form of epidermis. So like that we discussed already. But whereas this collenchyma provides mechanical strength. Okay. So that's why it is a mechanical tissue, but you have to remember we are going to see one more mechanical tissue, that is sclerenchyma. But that also we have to differentiate. So that sclerenchyma is a dead mechanical tissue, while this collenchyma is a living mechanical tissue. And the living mechanical tissue is present only in dicots, and that too in which parts of dicots? Aerial parts of the dicots, but not in roots. Okay. And now, what you call the cells? Tissue means group of cells, no? And what there is one particular name for the cells that are making this collenchyma. The cells of collenchyma are called collocytes. The cells of collenchyma are called collocytes. Okay, present only in aerial parts of dicots. And what are those aerial parts that we will see? The aerial parts are young stems, petioles, pedicels, peduncles, lamina. I hope you know the stalk of the leaf is petiole, the stalk of the flower is pedicel, the stalk of the inflorescence is peduncle, and the lamina, of course, the upper part of the leaf is called lamina, and the young stems. So it is not present in the old parts of dicots, and all these are aerial parts. And remember, this tissue always confined to one area. It is always present below the epidermis. Epidermis is the outermost tissue, and below that it is present. And what you call the tissue present below the epidermis, hypodermis. Hypo means below, dermis means skin. The skin is already epidermis. So the one that is present below this epidermis is called hypodermis. So it is present in the hypodermis of young stems, hypodermis of petioles, hypodermis of pedicels, hypodermis of peduncles, and even hypodermis even in the lamina. You remember that in between the upper epidermis and lower epidermis, okay, you will find this tissue, which is present especially in the vascular bundle region, and we call this as what the bundle sheath extensions. So the position wise, it can be hypodermal in position. So that is what you'll find. And now when we come to the structural details of this, the cells are conspicuous, means what, they are very clear, because they are not small cells, they are big cells only. So that's why they are very clearly observed under the compound microscope. So conspicuous, and they are elongated. That means what, actually the cells are elongated like this. Cells are elongated like this, but appear round, oval, angular in transverse section. Actually, you know that in anatomy, what we will do is that we will take transverse sections, that is called section cutting, and in this transverse section, after staining, we we keep it over the slide, glass slide, and then we cover it with a cover glass or cover slip, and that is called mounting, and then we place it under microscope. So the transverse section, in the transverse section, the cells do not appear like elongated cells, because in transverse section you are getting the cell will be cut like this. Okay, that's why they appear as round, oval, or angular in transverse section. Okay, and generally in this group of cells which are making the tissue, so you find some gaps in between the cells, and what you call those gaps present in between the cells, intercellular spaces. But in this tissue, these intercellular spaces are absent, as they are closely packed, as they are closely packed, means what, they are compactly arranged. Okay, so without intercellular spaces. And one important point is here, these cells are having a cell wall, and the cell wall is composed of cellulose, hemicellulose, and pectin, so which are complex carbohydrates. So these complex carbohydrates will provide strength to the cells. They provide strength to the cells. So remember, the parenchyma is composed of cellulose and pectin, but here the one extra material is there, that is hemicellulose. And remember that in comparison with parenchyma, the pectin content is also more in the cell walls of this collenchyma. And because of the presence of this pectin, so it is provides elasticity to the part wherever it is present. Okay, and one more thing, why these intercellular spaces are absent? So the cell wall material is not uniformly deposited on the cell walls. So it is deposited more in the corners. So cell wall materials are deposited more at the corners, and because of which thick at corners. Okay, and this is the characteristic feature of this Collenchyma. Characteristic feature of this Collenchyma. Okay, but was these Collenchyma appears in different forms, and one scientist called as Majumdar, he recognized three types of Collenchymas. One is angular Collenchyma, lacunar Collenchyma, lamellar Collenchyma. Okay, so this angular Collenchyma, here the cells are arranged irregularly, and you can see that the corner, due to corner deposition, okay, so the intercellular is completely filled with the cell wall material, and these intercellular spaces here appear like triangles. The intercellular spaces appear as triangles, and that's why this is called angular Collenchyma. And the example for this angular column, it is present in the young stems of tomato and tagetes. Of course, tomato, tagetes is marigold. So in that you will find this angular collenchyma. And in lacunar collenchyma also, the cells are arranged irregularly. Cells are arranged irregularly, and the cell wall material is deposited around the intercellular space. Means what? Around the intercellular space means, so here you will find a gap, small gaps will be there, and these are called lacunas. Okay, so that's why this is called lacunar collenchyma. Okay, so don't think that these small ones are not cells, these are cells, and these are what? Lacuna. Okay, so this type of collenchyma you will find in the stems of Calotropis, stems of Calotropis. And in lamellar collenchyma, okay, the cells are arranged regularly in the form of layers. This is one layer of collenchyma, second layer, third layer, and you can see that this is radial wall and this is tangential walls. The radial walls and tangential walls are thickened, and you can see this cell wall material appears like plate in between the cells. So that's why one more name is there for lamellar collenchyma. It is also called plate collenchyma. Plate collenchyma. And this you will find in the stem of sunflower plant. Stem of sunflower plant, and all these examples are what? Dicots only. So don't forget that this Collenchyma is exclusively present in dicots, and that too in which parts of dicots? Aerial parts of dicots. Okay, now let us discuss about the functions of this Collenchyma. So it provides tensile strength to young stems, petioles, pedicels. So I wrote already, it is present in young stems, petioles, pedicels, peduncles, lamina. So all of them will have tensile strength, and that means what? Elasticity. Okay, the provides flexibility to organs and allows bending. So because of the presence of the pectin, no, so it allows that organ to bend. So the cucurbita stems, you take the cucurbita stems or pumpkin stems or watermelon stems, you can bend them very easily because they are flexible, and that flexibility is due to presence of Collenchyma. Okay, and prevents tearing of leaves. And doing that, I hope you know about the grass leaves. Grasses are monocots, and if you, okay, if you break them, they will break very easily. And you might observe that even because of the wind also, sometimes they tear off, but it never happens in the case of the dicot leaves. What might be the reason? This is due to presence of Collenchyma. So it prevents tearing of leaves. So just remember that the dicot leaves are not tearing off even when in the high wind currents. So the leaves flutter, okay, making so much of sound, but they will remain like that strong because of that flexibility. okay, and permits growth and elongation of organs. So as this is a living tissue, so it permits growth. So even the young stem will grow, okay. So even though it is with the Collenchyma, that indicates that it permits the growth and elongation of the organs, okay, elongation of organs, and it can store food material and also can perform photosynthesis when chloroplasts are present. So the Collenchyma may contain chloroplasts also, and especially what is the color of the young stem? And everyone can say that the young stems are green in color, and you can see these petioles are green in color, pedicels are green in color, peduncles are green in color, lamina, of course, green in color. But I am talking about these four: the young stems, petiole, pedicel, peduncles. They are all green in color, not due to epidermis. Epidermis is composed of parenchyma, but that epidermal parenchyma doesn't contain any chloroplasts except the guard cells, okay. But still then how these young stems, petioles, pedicels, peduncles appear green in color? This is due to presence of Collenchymatous hypodermis, Collenchymatous hypodermis, which contain the chloroplasts. So what is the function of chloroplasts? Photosynthesis. So that's why, so the Collenchyma can perform even photosynthesis when chloroplasts are present. So that is about the Collenchyma, and remember the important points that are there on this board.